This photograph was taken during a school trip on a bus. At first, everything appears completely normal. A group of girls is sitting in the back of the bus, with fabric covering the wall behind them. But when the image is zoomed in, something disturbing appears between them. A strange figure seems to be staring directly at the camera. Its eyes appear bright and glowing in the darkness, standing out against the shadows inside the bus. The figure is positioned perfectly between the girls, as if it had been sitting there the entire time. None of them remember anyone else being there. So who, or what, was watching from between them? This photo was taken inside her mother's house, and at first glance nothing appears unusual. But when the image is studied more carefully, a disturbing detail becomes visible. To the right of the woman's face, another face seems to appear, distorted, unnatural, and unsettling. Some viewers even described it as resembling the face of the devil. The expression appears twisted, almost as if it is staring directly at her from the darkness. What makes the image especially disturbing is that she had been completely alone in the room when the photo was taken. Since that day, the photograph has continued to trouble her. The unsettling presence in the image seems almost aware, as though something was watching through the camera lens. She eventually shared the image online, hoping others might help explain what appeared beside her. If she was alone, whose face is that? This photograph was captured on film above the valley of Glendalough in the Wicklow Mountains of Ireland. At first glance, the scene appears peaceful and breathtakingly beautiful. Rolling hills stretch beneath the sky, and soft clouds drift quietly above the valley. But the longer the image is examined, the more unsettling the feeling becomes. Something about the sky seems unusual, almost deliberate. Within the clouds, a faint silhouette appears to form the shape of an angel. The outline is delicate, nearly weightless, as if a figure has briefly emerged in the sky before fading back into the light. It almost feels as though something ancient revealed itself for only a moment, silently watching from above before disappearing again. The image leaves behind a strange emotion where beauty and mystery seem to blend together. Was it simply a natural cloud formation, or something else entirely? What do you see? Write in the comments. During a walk through a local park, a man took several photographs of the area. Later, while reviewing the images, he noticed something strange in two of them. A strange mist-like formation appeared in the darkness. Within the shape, something even more disturbing could be seen, what looks like a face with glowing ghostly eyes. According to the man, there were no lights nearby. No street lamps, no buildings, and no other light sources. In the distance there was only a wall and the dark end of the park. Because of that, the appearance of these glowing points in the photograph seems completely unexplained. To him, the eyes almost looked like something staring directly at him from the darkness. Almost like the eyes of the devil watching from the shadows. What do you think appeared in that photograph? Write your thoughts in the comments. Japan, 2008. At first glance, this looks like a normal family photograph, a simple moment captured so the family could remember the day. But there is something strange in the image. Look closely at the door on the left side of the frame. It almost looks as if someone is peeking out from behind it. A faint shape appears in the darkness, resembling a face quietly watching the family. No one present remembers anyone standing near the door when the photograph was taken. Even the family themselves have no idea who, or what, might have been looking at them from that doorway. Did someone step into the frame unnoticed, or was something else hiding there? At first glance, This appears to be an ordinary family photograph. But in the corner of the image, something disturbing catches the eye. A strange face seems to appear in the background, a face that clearly should not be there. The expression looks unnatural, almost as if it is staring directly at whoever looks at the picture. The photograph had been kept by relatives for a long time, but strange things seem to happen with it. The image repeatedly disappeared from the owner's phone. Attempts to upload it to Facebook somehow failed, as if the photo vanished on its own. Eventually, the owner only managed to recover it after receiving a copy from a sister. Everyone who sees the picture describes the same uneasy feeling, as though something was captured between frames. Something that left behind a disturbing trace in what was meant to be a joyful moment. What do you see in the corner of the image? This photograph was taken inside the Denver Firefighters Museum. On the staircase of the museum, something unusual can be seen. Part of a figure appears to be forming on the steps. Many viewers say the shape resembles a firefighter slowly climbing the stairs. The figure looks incomplete, almost transparent, as if it belongs to another time. The image creates the eerie feeling that something from the past may still remain inside the building. But is it truly a ghost, or simply a trick of light and shadow? What do you see in the photograph? This photograph was captured by a security camera at around 3:50 in the morning on a quiet street near a house. The image came from a camera installed outside the author's aunt's home and immediately drew attention because of a strange silhouette visible in the frame. In the photograph, a tall dark shape can be seen standing in the darkness. The figure appears long and unusual in its proportions. Some people say it resembles Bigfoot or another large unknown creature. Because of the blurred outline, it is difficult to determine whether the figure is a person, an animal, or simply a strange optical effect. However, the appearance of the shape is unsettling enough to make anyone studying the image feel uneasy. The figure stands perfectly still, as if frozen in place. So what exactly was standing outside that house at 3:50 in the morning? The photograph captures what seems like a perfectly normal evening. Several friends are sitting on a couch in the living room, laughing and playing with blasters. Noise, movement, and joy fill the room. But when attention is drawn to the left side of the frame, near a lamp, the sense of normalcy begins to crumble. Emerging from the shadows is what appears to be a face. It seems to be watching the scene quietly, unnoticed by everyone in the room. Is this just a camera malfunction, or something far more sinister hiding in the dark corners of the house? What do you think was captured here? According to the person who took this photograph, the image may have captured the spirit of Bessie, a young girl who died in this house in 1879. The photo was taken in the basement of a historic home in Parkersburg, West Virginia, the very place where Bessie reportedly passed away at the age of 11 after suffering from typhoid fever. In the photograph, a strange semi-transparent figure can be seen near the center of the frame. The shape is faint but noticeable, almost like a shadow that doesn't belong to anything in the room. Some people believe the figure resembles the spirit of the young girl whose tragic story is tied to the house. Others argue that the image may simply be a lighting effect, a shadow, or even a camera artifact. Yet the eerie outline remains difficult to ignore. Did the camera accidentally capture something connected to the past? The photographer says he has spent years trying to understand what appeared in this image. The photo was taken from inside a car, capturing the reflection in the vehicle's side mirror. At first it seemed like an ordinary shot, but one detail quickly stood out. Inside the mirror reflection was a strange shape that resembled a distorted screaming face. The form appeared stretched and ghost-like, as if it were caught mid-cry. The image immediately drew attention and raised unsettling questions. Despite many attempts to explain it logically, the photographer was never able to determine what caused the reflection. The longer people stare at the image, the more disturbing it becomes. What could have been reflected in that mirror? The owner of this photograph says it was taken on June 16, 2007, around 2 a.m. in the attic of an apartment inside an old house in Aberdeen, Scotland. At the time, nothing seemed unusual. The attic was dark and quiet. The only noticeable thing was the cold air, which didn't feel strange for a Scottish night. Without stepping inside, the man slightly opened the attic door and extended his camera into the room, taking a quick picture. At first glance, the image appeared almost completely dark, making it difficult to see anything at all. Later, the photo was brightened using image editing software. As the brightness increased, something unexpected began to appear in the corner of the attic. Near a wooden chair stood a small figure, thin, motionless, and strangely shaped. The photographer insists that when the picture was taken, there was absolutely nothing standing there. Yet the silhouette appears clearly in the processed image, as if someone had quietly been waiting in the darkness. What could have been standing in that attic at 2 in the morning? This photograph was taken inside a house located at 30 East Drive in Pontefract, England. A visitor simply snapped a casual picture while inside the building. But when the image was reviewed, something unusual appeared, a dark shadowy figure standing in the room. The silhouette looked almost human, as though someone were quietly watching from the darkness. The house itself is widely known as one of the most haunted homes in Britain. Since 1966, when the Pritchard family moved in, residents have reported strange events, objects moving on their own, unexplained noises, and even green foam reportedly flowing from the taps. The spirit most often connected to the house is known as the Black Monk of Pontefract, a mysterious dark figure that has been spotted in photographs and videos over the years. Whether the shape in this image is truly connected to the legend remains unknown. Is it a ghost, or just an illusion created by shadow and light? While looking through old family archives, a woman discovered a photograph of her grandmother. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary portrait. But when examined more closely, something unusual becomes visible in the window behind her. A blurred figure seems to be standing there, as if someone else was present in the room. This image becomes even more unsettling when considering the grandmother's story. From around the age of 50, she suffered from various illnesses, and by 60, she began claiming that she could see ghosts. Eventually, she was placed in a psychiatric hospital, where she later died. Was she imagining things, or was she seeing something others couldn't? During a birthday celebration, a young girl was blowing out candles on her cake while a friend took several photos of the moment. Everything seemed normal at the time, laughter, family, and a simple celebration. But later, while reviewing the images, something unexpected appeared in the background. A figure stood behind the girl, someone who had not been present at the party. The shape seemed to be watching her closely, almost protectively. The mother believes it could be her own grandmother, who loved the child deeply but passed away a year earlier. Was this an unseen guest, or something else? A woman's father, who lives alone, began hearing strange noises coming from his backyard. Concerned, he asked her to come stay with him for the weekend. One evening, While sitting outside, she was drinking tea and casually taking a few photos. Later, she noticed something unusual in one of the images, a clear silhouette standing where no one had been. Despite attempts to explain it, the figure appeared too defined to dismiss as a shadow or trick of light. The stillness of the yard, combined with the presence in the image, creates a quiet but deeply unsettling feeling. Who, or what, was standing in that backyard? On that evening, two friends were walking through the city, taking casual photos and enjoying their time together. Nothing unusual was happening. It was just laughter, conversation, and spontaneous picture. But later, when they reviewed the photos, one image stood out. Between them, something appeared. The figure was blurred, almost shapeless, as if it had formed out of thin air. Its outline didn't resemble a normal human shape, giving it an almost otherworldly appearance. The more they looked at it, the stranger it seemed. What could have appeared between them without being seen? This photograph was taken on March 8 while the girl was home alone. At first glance, the image looks ordinary, but when examined carefully, a disturbing detail becomes visible in the background. In the darkness, a pair of eerie eyes can be seen staring outward. According to her, there were no light sources or reflective surfaces in that part of the room. The area should have been completely dark. When she later reviewed the image, the presence of those eyes felt deeply unsettling, like something hidden had been watching from the shadows. Was it just a trick of light, or something waiting in the dark? What do you think is hiding in this photo? Write in the comments. A man climbed into the attic to retrieve Christmas decorations while his girlfriend took a photo of him standing on the ladder. When they later looked at the image, fear set in. Inside the attic hatch, a strange face had appeared. Where there should have been nothing but brick and darkness, an unfamiliar presence seemed to emerge. The house's history adds to the mystery. The building stands directly above a 17th century plague pit, and the past appears unwilling to remain buried. Was this the ghost of a long-forgotten era, or something else entirely? The photo continues to unsettle everyone who sees it. What do you think appeared in the attic? Write your opinion in the comments. The photo was captured inside a temple in Sahuayo, Michoacán, Mexico. The photographer claims not to have noticed any dark figure at the time. Yet on some shots, a strange dark silhouette appears behind the objects, resembling a human shadow. At first glance, it is almost invisible, but on closer inspection, it evokes a sense of an unseen presence, as if someone, or something, was silently watching from the corner. Could someone have been there? Comment below if you feel it too. This photograph was sent by Christy to a friend while walking through the forest. In the water, a strange figure is visible. Its outline looks unusual, hardly human. The current in this part of the river is very strong, making it difficult to imagine anyone standing there. The figure seems almost blurred, like something barely holding its form in the flowing water. Is it a play of light and water, a strange natural formation, or something truly unexplainable? What's your theory? Write in the comments. This picture was taken by the author's cousin immediately after a Ouija board session near the Ohio River in September 2011. Strange light and dark outlines are visible, forming vague shapes or figures, almost like spirits hovering just beyond the camera's view. Considering the circumstances of the photo, it's truly unsettling. Could the spirits have followed them home? Or were they captured in that fleeting moment? What do you see in these shadows? Luke from Sheffield claims he accidentally photographed the ghost of an elderly woman who once lived in his house. The previous owner died 18 months before his family moved in, and since then, strange things have reportedly happened. On the night of November 13th, unable to sleep, Luke went downstairs to smoke. The house was silent. Everyone else was asleep. Suddenly, he clearly heard footsteps coming from the lower floor. Unsure who could be there, he turned on his phone camera and took a photo toward the staircase. When he looked at the image, his breath caught. At the bottom of the stairs stood an old woman wearing a cardigan. Elderly, slightly hunched. She looked exactly like the former owner of the house. Luke believes she was trying to open the kitchen door, a place she often went while she was alive. He insists that no one else was in the house that night. So what was it? A shadow, or a spirit unwilling to leave her home? What do you think appeared on the stairs? Write in the comments. The owner of this photograph said he had recently bought a Samsung Note 9 and decided to test the smart camera by taking a picture of his dog. A few days later, while sending the photo, he noticed something strange in the reflection. "I'm honestly shocked. I can't believe something like this is in my home," he admitted. In the image, a strange figure can be seen, as if someone is watching from the reflection. The dog appears uneasy, as though it sensed something unusual. According to the owner, the photo looks so eerie that it is difficult to explain by normal means. Who do you think was watching from the reflection? On Halloween night in 2015, a team known as the Southwest Sydney Paranormal Investigators visited the old St. Bartholomew's Cemetery to film another report about the unexplained. The place was drowned in silence. Shadows stretched between the gravestones. Then, suddenly, a strange, mournful whimper echoed through the darkness, as if something unseen was pacing nearby. The team took dozens of photographs, but the mystery revealed itself later. While reviewing the images, they noticed a blurred silhouette near one of the old tombstones. The figure looked like a man caught mid-motion, as if he had suddenly bolted and was running away, almost as if trying to escape the camera itself. Who was that figure? And more importantly, what was it running from? What do you think this shadow was? A 13-year-old girl woke up in the middle of the night, unable to move. It was another episode of sleep paralysis, something she had experienced before, but never like this. Her body felt heavy, pinned to the bed, while the room around her seemed unnaturally still. As she struggled to breathe, she became aware of a faint noise coming from the other side of the room. It wasn't loud, but it was persistent, like something shifting in the dark. The sound didn't belong to the house. It felt deliberate. The moment the paralysis loosened its grip, she reached for her phone without hesitation and pointed it toward the source of the noise. Her hands were shaking as she took the photo. Later, when she looked at the image, she realized she had captured something she hadn't fully seen before. A figure stood in the darkness, distorted, barely human, yet unmistakably present. It was the same presence she had sensed while she couldn't move. The most unsettling part was not just that it was there, but that it seemed to be facing her. What was standing in her room that night? Write in the comments. A Reddit user shared a story that quickly drew attention. According to them, something had been lingering near their campsite for over an hour. They had been hunting wild boar in the forest, using green lights to navigate through the darkness. At first, everything seemed normal. But then one of the friends suddenly froze. He said he could smell something strong, unfamiliar, and wrong. Only after that did they notice movement in the distance. A large figure stood beyond the edge of their light. It didn't approach, but it didn't leave either. It simply remained there, watching. Its size alone ruled out any normal animal they knew. The figure stayed in the shadows, just far enough to remain unclear, but close enough to feel its presence. The group tried to ignore it at first, convincing themselves it could be an animal. But the longer it remained, the more unnatural it felt. Some online believe it could be Bigfoot. Others think it might be an unknown large predator. But one thing remains certain: the presence did not behave like anything familiar. What do you think was watching them from the dark? Write in the comments. This image was captured in the attic of a house in Cincinnati, Ohio, where motion sensor cameras had recently been installed. On the left side of the frame, a man can be seen, someone who actually lives in the house. But behind him, something else appears. A vague, unclear figure stands in the background. Its shape doesn't resemble a normal human form. It looks incomplete, almost like a silhouette that failed to fully exist. The presence is subtle, but deeply unsettling. It doesn't interact. It doesn't move. It simply remains there, just outside clear vision. What makes it worse is that the camera was triggered by movement. If the man is already visible, then what else caused it to record? What do you think is standing behind him? Write in the comments. Janice, who works night shifts, noticed something strange during one of her breaks. The trees outside were moving in the wind, but something about them didn't look right. There was a pattern in the branches, something too structured to be random. Curious, she took out her phone and captured the scene. When she looked at the photo later, she froze. Hidden among the branches was a face. It looked almost human, but not completely. The features were distorted by the shapes of the leaves and limbs, yet somehow too precise to ignore. Hollow-looking eyes and a faint outline of a mouth seemed to form naturally within the tree. The longer she stared at it, the more it felt like the face was staring back. The image gives the unsettling impression that something was hiding within the branches, watching, waiting, blending into its surroundings. Was it just a coincidence? Or something hiding in plain sight? What do you see in the trees? Write in the comments. A security camera in the backyard sent a motion alert, and the footage was immediately checked on a phone. On the recording, a figure resembling a small girl appeared, almost like a faint, ghostly presence standing in the yard. However, when the person later went outside to check, the area was completely empty. The image leaves behind an uneasy question. Was it a real visitor, a trick of light, or simply a camera malfunction creating something that was never there? What stood in the backyard that night? A late-night selfie appears normal at first glance. Nothing seems unusual in the foreground, and the scene looks ordinary. But in the background, a strange silhouette can be seen. Its shape appears unnatural, almost alien-like, standing out sharply from the rest of the environment. This detail gives the image an unsettling tone. The figure does not seem to belong to the space, as if it exists slightly outside of normal perception. It could be a shadow, a reflection, or a random visual artifact caused by the camera. Yet the feeling it creates is hard to ignore. Something about it feels wrong, as if something briefly appeared where it shouldn't have. What was captured in that final photo? Ella Reeve, 30, describes a strange photograph taken during a visit to the Birmingham Back-to-Backs Museum, a preserved 19th century working-class housing complex managed by the National Trust. She visited with her 81-year-old grandmother, hoping to connect with the history of her late grandfather, who grew up in similar homes. During the tour, everything felt normal at first, though the location already gave her a subtle sense of unease. Later, while briefly alone in one of the rooms, she quickly took a photo before rejoining the group. At that moment, she felt a sudden chill, tingling sensations, and a strong wave of anxiety. At home, reviewing the images, she noticed a white mist-like shape in one photo, and in another, a dark silhouette that she is certain was not present in the room. The shadow did not match her own form and appeared distinctly masculine. Even stranger, it was cast only on the wall and did not reflect on nearby furniture. Was it memory, coincidence, or something still lingering in that place? The owner of this photograph explains that several random pictures were taken inside a bedroom, and nothing unusual was noticed at first. It was only later that evening, while reviewing the images, that a strange detail appeared in one of the shots. The same person also recalls hearing footsteps at night while living in the house alone with dogs, before a partner moved in. The dogs were always inside the room and occasionally behaved strangely, staring at empty corners or the ceiling as if reacting to something unseen. There were also moments during video calls with their daughter when a male voice was allegedly heard in the background, though the daughter herself never noticed anything unusual. At first, these incidents felt unrelated. But after seeing the strange detail in the photograph, everything began to feel connected, like something unseen might have been present in the house all along. What was really happening inside that home? These images show what a father saw after waking in the middle of the night. His young son was softly babbling in his crib, so he checked the baby monitor. But instead of the usual view, a strange silhouette appeared on the screen. It was too defined to be interference, too tall to be a toy, and too still to be a trick of light. The father managed to take several photos before rushing into the nursery, convinced someone was standing there. But when he opened the door, the room was empty. No movement. No shadows. Only the child calmly staring into the darkness, as if the figure had vanished into thin air. It was the first and only time the father felt real fear inside his own home. Even years later, the memory of that night still sends chills, and the images feel like more than a simple camera glitch. What do you think appeared in the nursery? Write in the comments. This photograph was taken in Rome, Italy, inside a church believed to be connected to St. Paul, though the exact name of the church is not specified by the author. According to the person sharing the image, it was reviewed by an individual described as a grandmaster who appears in the photo. He stated that what is seen is not a ghost, but a higher manifestation of the Holy Spirit, connected specifically to St. Paul. Was this a divine presence, or something misunderstood? Melissa shares the story behind this photograph. It was taken by her mother on Halloween night in 1989, when Melissa and her friend, both 13 years old, were dyeing their hair before going out trick-or-treating. At the time, nothing unusual was noticed in the picture, just a normal family moment during a holiday celebration. Years later, however, they discovered a third figure in the background that had previously gone unnoticed. Upon closer inspection, the figure appears to be a boy roughly their age. He is standing behind Melissa, with dark hair, seemingly looking downward or with his eyes closed. The house where the photo was taken was built for Melissa's parents in the 1960s, and no other families ever lived there. That makes the presence of the unknown boy in the image even more mysterious. Who was he, and how did he get there? This photograph was taken near Albany, New York, during Easter weekend. According to the author, no one was smoking in the house at the time, and there were no known sources of smoke. Yet an unusual smoky anomaly appeared in the image, immediately drawing attention. It looks unnatural, as if it formed on its own within the air, without any clear source or explanation. Some believe it could be light distortion, dust, or a camera effect. Others see something far more unsettling, an unexplained presence captured in motionless form. What created this shape in empty air? In this photograph, a disturbing figure appears to be watching those present. The author notes that the image was taken on a day that coincided with the birthday of their deceased grandmother. Because of this, they wonder whether it could have been her, returning for a brief moment to say hello. The author admits they would like to believe that possibility. Was it just coincidence, or something more personal? A young woman was taking an ordinary selfie when she noticed a strange figure behind a door in the background. The figure resembles a ghost. Its face appears distorted, as if frozen in intense pain, while the body seems twisted by invisible suffering. What should have been a normal photo instantly turned into something deeply disturbing and mysterious. Was this just a terrifying coincidence, or did something reveal itself at the wrong moment? What do you think was captured behind that door? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken at Chillingham Castle, one of the darkest and most legendary castles in Britain. To this day, the image sends chills down the spine of everyone who sees it. In the photo, a barely visible silhouette of a child appears, as if sitting on an old chair and quietly, almost desperately, trying to draw attention. The figure carries a strange mix of sadness, unease, and an unsettling sense of curiosity. The image caused such a reaction that it was handed over to experts for analysis. After a detailed examination, specialists confirmed that there were no signs of editing or manipulation. Everything visible in the photograph is authentic. So what was sitting there? What do you think this childlike figure really was? Stacy explains that this photograph was taken with her late mother-in-law. According to her, it was just a normal photo captured while the woman was still alive, long before her passing. However, after the image was revisited years later in the family archive, Stacy noticed something strange. In the background, behind her mother-in-law, within the shadows and light distortions, another face seems to emerge. It is not fully clear, but defined enough to be recognized when viewed closely. Stacy says she is not the only one who sees it. Others have pointed out the same face in the image. Since then, the photo has sparked discussions. Some believe it is simply a play of light, textures, and random shapes. Others think something appeared in the photo that should not have been there. What do you see in the shadows? This photograph was taken in the intensive care unit of Royal North Shore Hospital. The author captured the image while lying in a hospital bed, simply looking around the room. Everything seemed normal, until a strange detail was noticed later. In the image, a dark figure can be seen. It appears to be standing off to the side, watching. According to the author, no one else was in the room at that moment besides medical staff, who was standing there in silence. The owner of this photo says it was taken in May 2007, just days after his unexpected return home from Kyrgyzstan, where he had been serving in the military. He had been given a choice: return home to his family or deploy to Iraq for 2 more months with another unit. He chose to go home, to his wife and children. The photograph was taken 3 days after his return to the United States. At first, it was just a normal family photo, even placed in a frame. But weeks later, something happened that changed how he saw the image. The unit he could have joined was hit by an explosion. 3 agents were killed. According to him, if he had made a different decision, he likely would have been among them. After that, he began examining the photo more closely. On his plain T-shirt, a strange silhouette appeared, an image resembling a figure, almost like a holy presence or something ghostly. In reality, the shirt had no design at all. This photo was taken during a New Year's celebration at the author's mother's workplace, when the author was still a child. The image shows a decorated Christmas tree, a festive atmosphere, and people gathered around. Nothing unusual at first glance. However, later, while examining the photo more closely, a strange detail was noticed behind the tree. In the darker part of the room, a silhouette seems to appear, something that does not resemble the other people present. Some viewers point out that it looks like a seated figure, and within the shadow, 2 faint bright spots can be seen, resembling eyes staring from the darkness. Because of this, the photo is often debated. Some say it is just reflections from holiday lights or shadows from decorations. Others believe a strange figure was unintentionally captured. What is hiding behind the tree? In the foreground, 2 girls are calmly sitting together, spending time peacefully. But later, while examining the image more closely, attention was drawn to the window behind them. In the reflection, or possibly behind the glass, a strange face can be seen. It does not belong to either of the girls. It looks as if someone inside the house is watching what is happening outside. According to the owner, no one else should have been inside the house at that moment besides family members, making the detail even more unsettling. Since then, the image has sparked debate. Some believe it is a reflection or distortion of the glass. Others think it could be an unknown person, or something that should not have been there. Who was watching them? This photograph was taken late in the evening, around 11 p.m., in the owner's daughter's garden. Later, a mysterious figure was discovered in the image, something no one noticed with the naked eye at the moment the photo was taken. About 4 meters away, there was nothing but a simple garden fence. Now, the owner is trying to find an explanation for what appeared in the frame. What was standing there in the darkness? Write your thoughts in the comments. This was a photograph taken at a woman's birthday celebration. The event went on as usual, and nothing unusual was noticed at the moment the photo was taken. However, later, while looking at the image, a strange, almost ghost-like figure was discovered in the background. The birthday woman herself suggested that it might have been her sister, as if she had come to congratulate her in an unusual way. According to her, the sister had passed away during her school years, which gave the image a deeper emotional weight and an unsettling sense of mystery. Was it memory, or something more? This photograph was taken in downtown Louisville, Kentucky, inside a historic building. At first, the image seemed completely ordinary, but later, while reviewing it, the photographer noticed a strange silhouette in one of the windows. At the moment the photo was taken, no one was standing there, and no people were captured in the frame. This detail raised confusion and left more questions than answers. Who, or what, was in that window? A man found an old photograph of himself as a very young child and immediately noticed a strange figure standing behind him. A blurred but distinct face, far too detailed to be dismissed as a reflection or camera glare. He showed the photo to his mother, hoping for an explanation. She responded with certainty. On that day, he had been completely alone. That left only one question: who was standing behind the child in the photograph? Since discovering the image, the thought has never left him. What do you think was captured behind him? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph captures a family celebration, the father's birthday. Relatives gathered in the house, trying to maintain a warm and joyful atmosphere. Yet an unsettling feeling of being watched seemed to linger in the air. The night before, the family had heard light, quick footsteps upstairs, as if children were running and playing. Everyone assumed it was the friends' kids who were visiting, but one child was asleep downstairs on the couch, and the other was outside with his mother. The homeowner's brother later recalled seeing a dark figure standing on the staircase on the second floor while he was studying on the first. And now, in this photograph, it feels as though someone is once again watching the celebration, as if something from the house's past continues to follow them. What do you think was watching from above? Share your thoughts in the comments. The young woman found this photograph while sorting through an old family album in the attic. Among ordinary images of the past, this picture stood out, dark, cracked with age, yet disturbingly clear. The photo shows her great-great-grandmother holding a small girl, the woman's future grandmother. At first, it appears to be a typical family photo from the early 1900s. But in the center of the image, behind them, stands a third person. The figure does not belong. The face is blurred, the features indistinct, the eyes empty. The expression resembles a motionless shadow caught by accident. No one in the family had ever spoken about this person. No records existed. Even her grandmother admitted she remembered the photograph but could not explain who stood between them. Who do you think this figure was? Write your opinion in the comments. Psychic medium Christine Hamlet claimed that she managed to capture a so-called black-eyed child while visiting the Cannock Chase area, a place linked to similar stories for decades. According to her, she works with spirits and believes several child entities remain in the area, 2 girls and 1 boy. She says they are tied to the location because of tragic circumstances and unrest remains. In the published images, she claims a small girl can be seen standing near a tree. The most disturbing feature is said to be her eyes, completely black, with no visible pupils, which is what gave the phenomenon its name. Christine insists these children are not aggressive, but appear lost, almost as if trapped between worlds. She connects their condition to illnesses from the past, including epidemics that may have caused physical changes during life. According to her theory, these entities remain in the area because of unfinished business. They were supposedly lonely in life and never received a proper burial, continuing to search for peace and recognition. What was standing near that tree? professional paranormal investigator Steve Hemingway claimed that during an investigation near Pontefract Castle, he managed to capture what he believes to be the famous Black Monk of Pontefract. According to him, the image was taken during a nighttime investigation at a location known for one of the most infamous poltergeist cases in the United Kingdom. In the darker area of the photo, a shadowy silhouette can be seen. It does not appear to resemble an ordinary person. Steve insists that nobody was nearby at the moment the picture was taken and believes the camera captured a manifestation connected to the legend of the Black Monk. Skeptics, however, point to shadows, poor lighting, and the limitations of night photography. Even so, the image remains one of the most discussed in his collection. Was this the legendary figure itself? The story began with an ordinary power outage. A young man was left in a dark room and tried to turn on his phone flashlight to help himself navigate. In the confusion, he accidentally took a photo. At the time, he noticed nothing unusual and continued with his evening. But later that night, while scrolling through his gallery, he came across the image and stopped immediately. In the dim room, a figure could be seen. A small girl in a dress appeared to be standing there, looking directly back toward the camera. At first, he assumed it was just an error or light distortion, but the image looked far too clear to be a random glare. It was that frozen gaze in the darkness that disturbed him most, as if something had entered the frame at the exact moment no one should have been there. Who was standing in that room? During a trip to Adelaide, he visited Z Ward Mental Asylum, an old psychiatric facility surrounded by dark stories. When the tour ended, the group went outside. His friend had already walked quickly toward the car. Her daughter was ahead, and there was no one else nearby. He clearly remembers that nobody was standing around. That was when he took several photographs. Later that night, while reviewing the images, he noticed something disturbing in one frame. A figure was standing there, almost as if it had simply stepped too close into the shot, but the longer he stared at it, the stronger the feeling became that it was not human. The most unsettling part was how still it looked. It did not seem like motion blur or a passing stranger. It looked as if it had not arrived or left, but had simply appeared in the image. Although it could be explained as shadow, blur, or an accidental object, the author remains certain of one thing: at that moment, no living person was there. Who appeared outside the asylum? This image was taken during a college graduation party for someone's sister. At first glance, it seems like a normal celebration photo filled with excitement and memories. But in the darkness of the background, something unsettling can be seen. A shadowy figure appears to be standing apart from everyone else. It is barely visible, but just clear enough to feel deeply wrong. The most disturbing part is the impression that the figure is staring directly into the camera. Its presence feels separate from the people around it, almost as if it was never truly part of the party at all. That cold, almost aware-looking stare is what makes this random image especially disturbing. Who was standing there in the dark? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photo was taken by a hunter deep in the woods late at night. He was not someone easily frightened by silence or darkness. He was used to walking alone and trusting his instincts. But even he admitted that some nights in the forest feel different. According to him, there are moments when the woods become strangely heavy and quiet, as if something unseen is present. Later, while reviewing the photos, he noticed a disturbing detail. Among the dark outlines of the trees, a face-like shape can be seen emerging from the shadows. It is faint and semi-transparent, yet oddly defined, almost as if something is quietly watching from deeper within the forest. The hunter insists he is not someone prone to fantasy or paranoia. He always looks for logical explanations. But this time, he believes the camera may have captured something more than an ordinary shadow. What was watching from the trees that night? Write your thoughts in the comments. This story began with an ordinary old Halloween photograph from 1989. In the image, two 13-year-old girls are laughing while dyeing their hair before going trick-or-treating. Their mother took the picture, and at the time, everything seemed completely normal. No one noticed anything strange. But years later, while looking at the image more closely, something disturbing was discovered. Behind one of the girls stands a third child, a boy. He appears to be slightly behind them, as if he accidentally walked into the frame. But according to the family, there was a major problem with that explanation. No one recognized him. And by their account, nobody else had been in the room when the photo was taken. So who was the boy standing behind them? What do you think this was? Write your thoughts in the comments. A woman found this photograph in the basement of a house she had moved into only 3 days earlier. It was an old image showing a room that looked almost identical to her current bedroom. Almost. One disturbing detail stood out immediately. Near a small bedside table, a figure can be seen standing in the corner. The unsettling part is that this exact location is where her bed now sits. At first, she ignored the strange noises in the house, small creaks at night, footsteps like sounds, the feeling that someone was nearby. But after finding this photograph, everything changed. Now, when she looks at the image, it no longer feels like a harmless old photo. It feels as though someone had been there long before her, and never actually left. Who was standing in that room? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken inside an abandoned tunnel that has long been closed to trains. Locals avoid the area, not because of rules or barriers, but because of the stories attached to it. One man decided to test the rumors and entered the tunnel alone. Later, while scrolling through the photos at home, he stopped on one particular image. In the distance, a vague figure can be seen. It is not sharp or fully formed, almost as if it were made of fog itself. According to local stories, many years ago a worker died there during a tunnel collapse. Since then, some claim his figure is occasionally seen by those who venture too far inside. At first, the man tried to explain it away as light and shadow, but one thought continued bothering him. When he took the photo, he was certain he was alone. Or at least, that is what he believed. Who was standing in that tunnel? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken inside a house during a housewarming celebration. After developing the image, the homeowner noticed something terrifying on the right side, a distorted, eerie face staring outward. Strange things had already been happening in the house, including unsettling events linked to the family who lived there before. The image leaves the impression that something else may be living there too, unseen, but aware. What do you think is sharing that home? Write your thoughts below. A man named John explained that this image was captured in his home between 2:30 and 4 p.m. using a webcam. He claims it is only one of many unusual recordings taken inside the house. A medium once told him that he is a magnet for spirits, and John believes he regularly communicates with a spiritual guide. He is unsure whether the figure in the photo is that same presence. He cannot tell if it is male or female, or if it is wearing glasses. As on most nights, John set up the webcam and went to sleep. Typically, he only records light anomalies or electronic voices. This time, however, a misty humanoid shape appeared. To see it clearly, he had to slow the footage and center the frame. John says voices are sometimes heard in the house. Doors slam violently at night. His dog refuses to sleep downstairs, clawing and biting at the kitchen door to escape. When electrical disturbances occur, voices can be heard, the dog becomes agitated, and footsteps and bell sounds echo through the home. He claims he is often called by name. In a single night, John says he may capture anywhere from 5 to 15 light anomalies, along with unexplained sounds. What do you think is following him? The young man explained that the photo shows his maternal great-grandmother standing happily beside his cousin Stan, who was still a child at the time. At first glance, the image looks like a warm family memory, but when the photograph was printed, the young man noticed something unsettling in the background. Not wanting to frighten his mother, he kept silent. On the right side of the image, a strange anomaly is visible, something that does not resemble a human figure. It could be a lighting illusion or a visual distortion, or perhaps something else entirely. What do you think appeared in the background? A woman received a motion alert from her security camera and couldn't believe what she saw. On the footage, a white figure appeared on the staircase, silently gliding through the dim light. The shape was pale, blurry, and unlike anything she had seen before. At first, she assumed it might be a cat or a dog passing by. Then she remembered something crucial: she lives completely alone. The image has haunted her ever since, leaving her to wonder who, or what, was truly inside her home that night. What do you think appeared on the stairs? Share your opinion. Amanda Pitt lives with her husband in an old Victorian house near Manchester, England. One night, around 3:40 a.m., she woke up to a disturbing sound, heavy footsteps climbing the stairs, followed by movement in the hallway. She woke her husband, but he found nothing unusual. The house was empty, or at least, it seemed that way. Amanda insists that someone entered their bedroom and stood there, completely still. She was frozen with fear. When she checked the security camera, a terrifying figure could be seen near the staircase. She immediately took a screenshot. The police found no signs of a break-in. Nothing was stolen, but the Pitt family is certain it was not a human. They say this was not their first encounter with something paranormal. Now they fear that their house is not just old, it is home to something from the other side. What do you think was standing in their home that night? Write your thoughts in the comments. The young woman was simply taking a selfie. She didn't notice anything strange at first. Later, while scrolling through her gallery, her eyes caught something unusual inside the closet. When she zoomed in, it looked like a face, barely visible, hidden among the shadows. No light in the room could have created such a shape. And yet, when she turned to look at the closet, it was completely empty. To this day, she has no idea what she encountered. What do you think was hiding there? A woman explained that this photograph was taken several years ago and later uploaded to social media by one of her relatives. She was the first to notice something disturbing in the image. She emphasizes that her uncle does not know how to use Photoshop. Even if he did, he would never alter an important family photo as a joke. The image is completely original. Between the two girls in the photo, a terrifying face can be seen, twisted, disfigured, and clearly watching what is happening. What do you think was captured in this picture? The man took this photograph during the daytime, fully confident that no one else was inside the house. What made the situation truly terrifying was the fact that it was his own home, and at the moment the photo was taken, he was standing only a few meters away from where a silhouette later appeared in the image. In the days that followed, he felt that something had changed. Strange sounds echoed at night. The constant sensation of being watched grew stronger. Sudden waves of cold air appeared without explanation. Eventually, he could no longer stay in the house alone. The property was put up for sale, but rumors about the photograph, and about something unseen inside the house, spread quickly throughout the area. To this day, no one has bought the house. It remains empty, and neighbors avoid walking past it. What do you think was sharing that house with him? At first glance, this is just a photograph of an ordinary window. But those interested in the paranormal believe something far more disturbing hides behind the glass. According to local stories, a man once lived in this building and disappeared without a trace. He was never found. It is believed that his spirit became bound to the place, trapped between worlds. Witnesses claim he still tries to escape, but can only reveal himself through reflections. Is this just reflection, or something trying to be seen? Share your thoughts. In 2015, a visitor to the Frida Kahlo Museum took a photograph near her vanity table, the very place where, according to legend, her ashes and personal belongings are kept. At first, the image seems ordinary, a mirror, small figurines, and the reflection of a woman. But upon closer inspection, something appears behind her in the mirror. A presence stands there, watching, waiting. No one noticed it at the moment the photo was taken. Only later, while examining the image, did the question arise: who is that? A shadow from the past? A visitor from another world? Or Frida herself, guarding her space? What do you think appeared in the mirror? Stacy Alexander took this photograph more than 20 years ago. The image shows her young son standing in a playpen, a moment any mother might capture. That day, Stacy was home alone with her child. Even then, she felt an uneasy sensation, as if someone was watching her every move. Later, while reviewing the photo, her heart dropped. Behind her son, on the left side, a distorted face is clearly visible, hiding in the shadows, watching the child. Whether ghost or light distortion, one thing is certain: after that image, Stacy became convinced she was never truly alone in the house. What do you think was watching her son? At first glance, this photo captures a joyful moment. A small birthday boy celebrates his special day with a Mickey Mouse themed party. He sits in a high chair, preparing to blow out the candles, surrounded by laughter and celebration. But look closely at the background. Behind the chair, a small, flickering figure can be seen, as if it accidentally slipped into the frame. Its outline is blurred, but its presence feels almost physical. Many who have seen the photo are convinced this was not a random guest, but a real ghost quietly watching the celebration. Who do you think appeared at the party? Write your thoughts in the comments. Several years ago, a young man shared a disturbing photograph of his girlfriend online. In the image, behind her and beyond the window, someone appears to be watching. Only a pale white face with dark, empty eye sockets can be seen, a hollow stare that seems to follow every movement. The man insisted that no one was standing outside the window and that the house was completely empty at the time. Whether it was a cruel prank by friends or a genuine paranormal manifestation remains unknown. But from that moment on, the photograph haunted both him and everyone who saw it. What do you think was watching from the window? In the next photograph, co-workers had simply gathered together to take a group photo. Nothing unusual was noticed at the time. Later, one of them pointed out something disturbing on the right side of the image. There, a figure appeared, one that looked strikingly similar to a colleague who had recently passed away. Some began to wonder if he had returned one last time to make his presence known. Perhaps it was a silent goodbye, captured unintentionally in a single frame. Do you think this was a coincidence or a final visit? When a man returned home late and took this photograph, there was no one inside the car, but what appeared in the image made his blood run cold. In the photo, a white, screaming face is clearly visible, as if it were crying out for help. Many who have seen the image suggested that the face might be connected to a past accident, and that the car itself may carry a dark and tragic history. The expression frozen in the image feels desperate, almost pleading, as if something wanted to be seen at that exact moment. What do you think this face is connected to? This old photograph was shared by a man named Roar Hope. According to him, the image was taken with a vintage Polaroid camera sometime in the early 1970s. At first glance, it looks like a normal family photo. A young mother sits with her children, trying to capture a rare moment of calm. But upon closer inspection, the peaceful scene falls apart. Behind the family, deep in the shadows, something appears, something that should not have been there. A distorted, sinister face seems to emerge from the darkness. Roar insists that no one was standing behind them at the time and that the photograph was never edited or altered in any way. Since then, the image has sparked endless debates and chills everyone who sees it. What do you think emerged from the shadows? Write your thoughts below. In a bar in Shreveport, Louisiana, a photograph was taken that many now call real evidence of a ghost's presence. A woman named Kim recalls that evening clearly. She was out with friends, relaxing, laughing, and enjoying a normal night out. None of them suspected that an ordinary visit to a bar would turn into something so unsettling. The photo was taken about 3 years ago. In the image, a strange figure can be seen standing on the dance floor next to one of Kim's friends. The photographer was positioned on a balcony above, casually taking pictures of the group. He later admitted that at the moment the photo was taken, he noticed nothing unusual at all. It was only days later, while reviewing the images, that he spotted the mysterious silhouette. Kim explains that the bar was small, located in downtown Shreveport. They were dancing, talking, and having fun. Kim herself did not appear in the photo, but her friends are clearly visible. The figure stands out with surprising clarity. Even skeptics are puzzled by certain details. The strangest part is a beam of light that appears to curve unnaturally around the figure's shoulders, almost as if outlining its shape. Some believe it is nothing more than lighting and coincidence. Others consider it one of the most convincing ghost images ever captured in a loud, crowded, and completely non-mystical place. What do you think appeared on that dance floor? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken in 2017 and quickly spread across local social media in Russia. The image shows what appears to be the ghost of a young woman standing near a pole. She has long black hair, is wearing a dress, and appears to be barefoot. The identity of the photographer remains unknown to this day. Because of this, it is impossible to say for certain whether the image truly captured a ghost invisible to the naked eye, or if it is the result of digital manipulation. Still, many agree on one thing: the image is deeply unsettling. What do you think this photograph shows? A woman lives in the quiet town of Ravenna, Ohio. In May 2007, her son took a photo of their home, a simple family picture that unexpectedly became a mystery. In one of the windows, a clear figure of a child can be seen, a child who was not in the house and could not have been there. When the family purchased the home, the previous owners mentioned occasional ghost sightings, but the family never took those stories seriously. On the day the photo was taken, the woman was home alone. Her husband was in the hospital recovering from surgery to remove a cancerous tumor. Seeing an unknown child in the window left her completely shaken. Who do you think appeared in that window? Several years ago, a man named Adam visited Chillingham Castle, a place known for its dark reputation and countless ghost legends. While walking near one of the towers, he took a photograph that continues to spark debate to this day. In the image, within the stonework of an archway, a strange figure appears standing behind a boy. The shape resembles a human silhouette, yet its outline is so unclear that it is impossible to say whether it is a trick of light or something far more disturbing. Adam believes this is one of the most convincing pieces of evidence he has ever encountered. The castle's history, filled with cruelty, suffering, and fear, only strengthens the feeling that the spirits of the past still wander its grounds. He cannot say whether the presence is peaceful or hostile, but the photograph continues to unsettle everyone who sees it. What do you think was captured near the tower? These images were captured in a child's bedroom using a baby monitor. In the first photo, a strange figure with long hair appears, a sight that sends chills down the spine. In the second image, the shape begins to fade, retreating into the shadows, its face no longer visible. At the time, only the child was in the room. No adults, no visitors. This detail makes the images even more disturbing. What do you think appeared in the nursery? Early one morning, a security guard working at a car dealership took this photograph. Every time he looks at it, he feels a chill run down his spine. At first glance, it appears to be a photo of an empty room. Nothing unusual, but when attention is drawn to the reflection in the window, a strange figure becomes visible. A shape that should not be there. That night, the guard was alone in the building. At least, he believed he was. What do you think was reflected in the glass? Share your opinion. An unusual incident occurred at the Villa Mercedes Teacher Training College in San Luis during a safety seminar. One of the teachers took a photo and later noticed a young girl sitting at the back of the classroom, separated from everyone else. The disturbing detail was that no one remembered seeing her during the seminar. Teachers showed the image to colleagues and quickly realized that the girl was not part of the meeting. No one recognized her, and no records of her existed. Authorities later confirmed that the girl was not listed in any school documentation and was not a student at the institution. The school principal stated that the figure in the photograph resembles a blurred ghostly presence inside the classroom. Professor Gaston Assef invited image analysis specialists, who confirmed that the photo showed no signs of editing or digital manipulation. Who do you think the girl was? Write your thoughts in the comments. Deep within the famous dark hedges near Armoy, Ireland, photographer Gordon Watson captured something extraordinary: the legendary Grey Lady. Locals say she appears along the narrow road winding between ancient beech trees. A thin, almost transparent figure glides silently down the path and disappears behind the final tree. According to one version of the legend, she is the spirit of a maid from a nearby estate who died under mysterious circumstances centuries ago. Professional photographer Kevin McCauley examined the image and confirmed that no form of digital manipulation could explain it. Some believe the Grey Lady is a lost spirit from an abandoned cemetery in the surrounding fields. It is said that on Halloween night, forgotten graves open, and she begins her eternal walk, accompanied by the souls buried beside her. She seems to always be near, silently watching travelers, before vanishing as suddenly as she appears, leaving behind only a faint chill and a lingering sense of mystery. Do you believe the Grey Lady was captured here? At first glance, this looks like an ordinary family photograph. Nothing seems out of place. But later, the mother noticed something disturbing on the screen of the television, which was turned off at the time. Reflected in the dark glass was a face. The most unsettling part was how painfully familiar it looked. The woman immediately recognized the features. The face strongly resembled her own mother, a woman who passed away before ever meeting her grandchildren. The reflection was not present during the moment the photo was taken. It only revealed itself afterward, frozen in the image, staring back from the lifeless screen. What do you think appeared on the television? The baby in this photo was only 3 weeks old, resting peacefully in a car seat when her mother decided to take a picture. After the photo was developed, the mother noticed something chilling beside her daughter, a gray shape resembling another infant. The woman had previously lost her first child due to a miscarriage. She firmly believes the image shows her lost baby, appearing to watch over the newborn sister. In that moment, it felt as if an unseen presence was gently protecting the child, silently saying, "I am here. You are not alone." What do you think appeared beside the baby? Share your opinion. In 2007, a man from West Yorkshire, then an aspiring amateur filmmaker, went out onto a forest path to record ordinary nature footage for a small project. At the time, he noticed nothing unusual, just walking forward and filming the surroundings. Later, while reviewing the footage at home, he saw something that sent chills down his spine. A semi-transparent figure appeared on the recording, strongly resembling a Roman soldier. The silhouette seemed to cross the path like a patrol, following an ancient route long erased by time. He insists there was no one else nearby when the footage was recorded. Was it a coincidence? Or did the camera briefly capture an echo of an era that ended 2,000 years ago? What do you think crossed that forest path? Share your theory. These photographs were taken by a woman named Karen. She firmly believes that a ghost named Malcolm lives in her house. According to her, she learned his name through a spirit board. For 13 years, he has slammed doors, knocked pictures off walls, opened drawers, and even turned on the kettle when guests arrive. In one photo, the ghost appears in a window. Karen claims that sometimes he imitates the voices of family members and even pretends to be her partner. At first, she lived in fear, especially after returning home one day to find a door torn off its hinges and a kettle boiling in the kitchen. Another image shows a dark anomaly on the staircase. Over time, her partner Paul, a convinced skeptic, also began noticing strange sounds and shadows. Eventually, Karen accepted Malcolm's presence. She now jokes that he has become part of the family, even writing his name on Christmas cards. She talks to him, scolds him when he misbehaves, and believes he died in 1858 at the age of 57. Mediums she invited into the house also sensed unusual energy. Karen believes Malcolm lived in a building that once stood on the land before her home was built in the 1930s, and she plans to research the site's history. Do you think Malcolm is real, or something else entirely? This image was captured during a sleep research experiment using an infrared Sony digital camera. Above the sleeping patient, a strange figure can be clearly seen, resembling a ghostly presence. The shape appears transparent, almost ethereal, creating the unsettling impression that something invisible is watching over the patient. Scientists have not provided a definitive explanation. It could be an optical effect caused by the camera, but to many observers, the image looks genuinely paranormal. What do you think was hovering above the patient? Man shared a deeply personal story connected to this photograph. His grandmother passed away on March 25th. Just 2 weeks later, on April 12th, his father also died. The house where his father passed belonged to his grandparents, and many years earlier, his grandfather had taken his own life there. The family is now sorting through belongings and slowly clearing the house. During the cleanup, the man decided to photograph his father's beloved 1973 Volkswagen Beetle. He opened a window to get a clearer shot and took what seemed like an ordinary picture. In the reflection on the glass, a child can be seen, a child who was actually standing nearby. But just above the child's shoulder, another face appears. The family cannot explain this figure. What makes it even more disturbing is that it bears a striking resemblance to the man's late father. Who, or what, appeared in that reflection? Could it be a coincidence, or something far more unsettling? What do you think was captured in the glass? Share your opinion. This photograph quickly sparked discussion, and for good reason. Something about it feels deeply unsettling. The person who shared the image offered no explanation, only asking what others thought about it. The photo shows a room. On the right side, near the bed, stands a strange figure resembling a small elderly person. Its proportions appear unnatural, as if the shape does not belong to a living human being. There is a strong sense that this was not a random visitor, but something that appeared for reasons unknown, not by choice, but by circumstance. It is easy to understand why the image caused such a reaction. It looks disturbingly like a ghost standing beside the bed at that exact moment. What do you think was standing there? Another photograph that has been actively discussed in paranormal communities was taken inside a suburban hospital in Chiang Rai, Thailand. The image was captured by a team of ghost hunters, and judging by what appears in the frame, they may have actually recorded something unusual. The photograph shows a staircase. Along it, several semi-transparent figures seem to be descending. They do not look like motion blur or camera artifacts. Each shape appears distinct, almost separate, faintly illuminated by weak ambient light. What makes the image especially unsettling is the fact that, at the moment the photo was taken, no one was standing in front of the camera. According to the team, they were inside an empty wing of the hospital. But the photograph suggests a very different reality. What do you think was captured on that staircase? Write your thoughts in the comments. A man was simply looking for a fish and chips shop in Walton, Liverpool, when he stumbled upon the Stewart Hotel using Google Street View. After zooming in on one of the windows, he noticed something strange, the silhouette of a man in a tuxedo, with a face impossible to clearly define. The Street View images were taken in May 2015, but only recently drew attention. Local paranormal investigator Tom Sleman explained that the hotel has long been surrounded by disturbing legends. In 1897, the owner at the time, Robinson Pemberton, heard scratching noises coming from the basement. At first, he assumed it was rats, but the sounds grew so loud that even neighbors heard them. After a thorough inspection and leaving windows open, the noises suddenly stopped. The stories did not end there. One night, a visitor knocked 3 times on a pub wall and received 3 knocks in return. The sound ceased only after a priest placed a Bible in the basement. Tom Sleman admitted that he could not confirm the face in the window, but agreed the image looks genuinely disturbing. He left the mystery to the public. What do you think appeared in that window? Coincidence, light, or a ghost from the past? The owner of this old photograph shared a curious story. He insists that he does not believe in ghosts and has no interest in the paranormal. Even so, he admits that he has never found a logical explanation for what appears in the image. The photo was taken many years ago inside an abandoned mansion in Utah, a place he and his friends used to secretly explore during their school years. He usually waited for them in the car, but one day someone brought back this photograph. In the background of the image stands a dark figure, a black silhouette with 2 glowing eyes, staring directly into the camera. According to the owner, only 2 people were inside the room at the time. So who was captured in the frame? And why did that silhouette appear where no one else should have been? What do you think this figure was? The Willard Library in Evansville, Indiana, is considered one of the most haunted buildings in the world. Its residents are not only books, but, according to many stories, spirits that sometimes appear on camera. Willard Library runs a live stream from 3 different rooms, and one day a viewer noticed something disturbing. In the children's room, a strange shape slowly crawled across the floor. At that moment, there were no children in the room. The figure appeared briefly and then vanished just as suddenly, as if dissolving into the air. The footage left viewers unsettled. No logical explanation has ever been given. What do you think moved across that floor? Write your thoughts in the comments. The owner of this photograph says it was taken in the room where his uncle died in 2007. An overdose. A quiet, heavy death that seemed to break something inside the house. Every visit afterward brought an uncomfortable chill in the chest, as if the air itself carried an unseen presence. Months later, his aunt decided to gather the family for a party, hoping to bring life back into the house. That evening, after the guests dispersed, 2 cousins gave in to dark curiosity and decided to play ghost hunters. Using an old phone that barely worked even then, they took this photo. The room was completely dark, no lamps, no computer screens, no windows in that corner. What appeared in the image still causes goosebumps. A silhouette, reflections, shapes that look disturbingly like someone standing where no one should be. The owner admits he always felt it was his uncle, returned, to remind them he existed, or because he never truly left. What do you think was captured in that room? Until recently, this man had never experienced anything not of this world. But after the death of his best friend's father, he visited their home in Colorado and briefly saw the figure of a man standing between 2 cars, before it vanished instantly. That moment made him seriously question everything. His niece, a Native American woman, had seen a being since childhood that she simply called the man. Her life was difficult, and many dismissed her stories as imagination, until she began running away in terror, convinced something was chasing her. Over the years, her stories grew darker. Now living again with his mother, she recently photographed a card from her wallet. By accident, she captured a strange reflection in a small mirror, a face that could not have appeared at that angle. The photo shocked the entire family. That was when the man realized he had been wrong to doubt her for so long. Now he seeks answers, how to help her, and whether the image can be explained rationally at all. What do you think appeared in that reflection? A motion-activated camera installed in a cornfield in Hubertus, Wisconsin, captured a disturbing figure slowly walking along the edge of the field. The camera was placed on private property, not easily accessible to outsiders, and it only activates when movement is detected. This means the figure was truly moving, and that movement is exactly what triggered the photo. In the image, a tall, thin silhouette can be seen, resembling either a man or a woman wearing a long nightgown. The figure nearly reaches the height of the corn itself, making the scene feel even more unsettling. Some joke that it looks like Slender Man, but the humor fades quickly when it becomes clear that someone, or something, actually walked through that field. What do you think was captured here? Write your thoughts in the comments. A couple of months ago, a man was casually browsing houses online. Nothing unusual, just a normal activity. Then one photo made him freeze. At first glance, it looked like a bright, comfortable room with a beautiful window, soft natural light, and a warm atmosphere. But the mood changes instantly when the doorway comes into focus. In the shadow, a silhouette emerges, one that closely resembles a dog. The longer it is examined, the stronger the feeling becomes that this is not just a shadow, but the ghost of a dog. How did it get there? Was it truly an animal spirit, or something else entirely? What do you think was standing in that doorway? This photograph was taken at Barnard Castle in England. The image clearly shows a white figure, as if hiding near the ancient stone walls of the fortress. It is difficult to say whether this is a trick of light or something else entirely, but the shape appears too defined to dismiss as coincidence. Construction of Barnard Castle began in 1095, and it was once a favored place of King Richard III. Today, it is a protected heritage site, but its history seems to have taken on a darker life of its own. It is said that nearby pubs regularly capture strange videos featuring mysterious orbs, shadows, blurred figures, faces, and unexplained movements, as if something around the castle refuses to rest. This photograph only deepens the mystery of who, or what, still lingers within those old walls. What do you think was hiding there? Share your opinion. This photograph appeared on social media with no background story, but the image itself was enough to make hearts race. Behind the man, a female face can be discerned, not just a face, but a sinister silhouette with eyes that seem to glow from within. Many who saw the photo said they felt as if someone invisible was watching them. A cold, creeping fear set in, the kind that reaches deep and lingers long after the image is gone. What do you think was captured behind him? Share your opinion in the comments. The man who took this photograph was initially just trying to identify the source of strange noises in his house. He was used to ordinary nighttime sounds, shifting walls, temperature changes, nothing unusual. But that night was different. He was alone when he heard persistent knocking, floorboards creaking, and, most disturbing of all, footsteps and the faint rustle of clothing, as if someone was slowly moving down the hallway. He pointed his phone toward the sounds and took a picture. What appeared in the image unsettled him deeply. A face seemed to be peering through a gap in the doorway. Blurred, but far too disturbing to ignore. Since that moment, he no longer feels safe in his own home. He admitted he is now looking for a new place to live. The photo, and the sounds that preceded it, convinced him that whatever was captured, he is no longer willing to stay under that roof. What do you think was looking through the door? Write in the comments. this image, a young man is simply standing next to a car, an ordinary photo at first glance. But a friend immediately noticed a terrifying face emerging in the picture. Eyes, nose, mouth, everything was there, far too clear to be dismissed as coincidence. The two felt a sudden chill run through them. The face seemed to be watching, motionless, as if frozen between worlds. A simple photograph became something far more disturbing, leaving them with the feeling that even a familiar street is not as safe as it seems. What do you think appeared in this photo? Share your thoughts. This photograph was taken at Fairview Lawn Cemetery in Canada, the final resting place of more than 100 victims of the Titanic disaster. A team of researchers was simply taking random photos of the grounds, expecting nothing unusual. But one image made them stop. Among the calm rows of gravestones, a ghostly face seems to emerge, pale and blurred, as if trying to break through the mist between worlds. Many who have seen this photograph admit that once the face is noticed, a cold shiver runs through the body. What do you think appeared among the graves? Share your thoughts in the comments. In one scene, actor Ted Danson stands by a window, and just behind the curtain, a young boy appears, pale and expressionless, staring straight into the camera. Danson swore no such boy was present, and neither the director nor the crew recalled hiring a child actor. The room had been empty, at least, it was supposed to be. The image of the boy, half hidden but unmistakable, chilled everyone who saw it. Some say it was the spirit of a child who once lived in the building before it became a film set. Others believe it was something darker, something drawn to the energy of the production. Whatever it was, that haunting little face burned itself into cinematic history, a ghost that managed to sneak into Hollywood. Behind Diana, something pale sat silently in the pews, a ghostly woman draped in white, her small hat tilted slightly to the side, her clothes from another century. The photo captured her perfectly, though no one remembered seeing anyone there. When Diana and her husband returned to the church the next summer, they questioned the staff, asking if anyone had ever seen a woman like that. The priest hesitated, then spoke of the White Lady, known among locals as the Healer. According to legend, she appears beside those in need of recovery, sometimes to comfort, sometimes to warn. Diana remembered she had been sick during that time, unable to shake a strange illness. After that visit, she recovered completely. The mysterious woman behind her was never seen again, but the image remains a haunting reminder that perhaps something, or someone, had been watching over her. The man explained that this photograph was taken by his father when he was still a child. He was simply taking pictures for fun, expecting nothing unusual. When the film was developed, a figure appeared in the image. Clear, recognizable, and completely impossible. It was their neighbor, a man who often visited their home and played with the father as a child. A neighbor who had been dead for 2 years by the time the photo was taken. After that, the father avoided speaking about the photograph. It was as if acknowledging what he saw might allow that figure to find its way back into their home. What do you think appeared in this image? Share your opinion in the comments. She discovered this one photograph deep within her family archives and immediately felt that something about it was wrong. The image showed her great-grandmother's sister standing with a friend, but behind them appeared to be another figure. Blurred, indistinct, watching. She showed the photo to her mother, hoping for a rational explanation. The response was simple, just a trick of the light. 40 days after the photograph was taken, her great-grandmother passed away. Now, every time she looks at the image, she feels the same cold sensation, the same presence that seemed to linger behind the women in the photo. What do you think was standing behind them? Write your thoughts in the comments. On October 30th, 2018, around 6:15 p.m., Dave Newnham was inspecting footpaths near the Delago Bridge in Ceredigion, Wales, when he saw a woman standing motionless in the River Wystwyth. Concerned she might be in danger, he approached, but quickly realized something was terribly wrong. The figure was unnaturally still, her pale reflection trembling on the surface of the water. When Dave tried to call out, she simply dissolved into the mist. Shocked, he raised his camera and managed to take one photo before she vanished completely. Later, he would tell investigators, "I thought she needed help, but she wasn't human." The man who took this photo insisted that no one was standing in the doorway of his new family home in Chicago when he pressed the shutter. Yet the picture tells a different story. Two shapes appear in the open door, the figure of an elderly woman and the faint outline of a dog at her side. Their forms are hazy, but their presence undeniable. Some believe they were former residents of the property, returning to what was once theirs. Others think they were simply passing through, caught between worlds for a single moment, long enough to be seen, then gone again. This photograph was taken of a window in the old courthouse building in Alabama. At first glance, it looks like dirt or a stain on the glass, until you notice the unmistakable outline of a man's face. Locals claim it belongs to Henry Wells, a slave who once hid in the courthouse to escape a lynch mob. He was caught and killed, but his terrified image is said to have burned itself into the window. Decades of cleaning and replacing the glass never made it disappear. The face always returns, staring out at those who dare to look too long. In Louisiana, there stands a plantation said to be home to at least a dozen ghosts, most believed to be the spirits of enslaved people who once lived and died there. In one photograph, taken by a visitor during a tour, a distant figure can be seen standing in the shadows of a field. The outline is tall and distinctly male, yet the photographer swore no one else was there. Paranormal investigators later confirmed that the spot where the figure appeared aligns with the graves of several workers buried without markers. Even now, guests report footsteps in the grass, whispers near the trees, and a cold presence that seems to follow them back to their cars. The owner of this photo said it was taken at the Littleton Arms Hotel in Hagley. His sister was taking a selfie in the women's restroom and, according to her, there was nobody else inside. But when she looked at the photo later, she noticed a strange figure in the background, a pale shape resembling a skeletal face. Frightened, she immediately called her father, who came to pick her up and take her home. Later, after seeing the image, he said the figure vaguely reminded him of his late father. Since then, the family has never been able to rationally explain what exactly appeared in the frame. Who was standing behind her? This photograph was taken during a recent fire in Despinaderos, Argentina. What began as a routine report on firefighters' work quickly turned into a mystery. In one image published by the municipality on social media, attentive viewers noticed a strange figure in the background. The silhouette appears to be watching the scene silently and motionlessly, like a witness or a guardian. The image spread rapidly across Argentine social media. Some believe the photo captured a ghost or spiritual entity. Others see a resemblance to the Virgin Mary and interpret it as a sign of protection during a dangerous moment. Skeptics suggest a more rational explanation, pareidolia, a psychological effect in which the brain perceives familiar shapes in smoke, shadows, or random patterns. The municipality of Despenaderos declined to comment on the nature of the figure. It is known only that the fire was successfully contained, no one was injured, and no buildings suffered serious damage. Still, the question remains, was it merely smoke and light, or something more? What do you think appeared in this photo? Share your thoughts in the comments. After moving into a new home, a young man decided to take a photo to remember the moment. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Some time later, after examining the image more closely, he noticed a strange shape hidden in the darkness behind the staircase. Increasing the brightness revealed what looked like a face or figure. It would have been impossible for a stranger to be in the house. Only 2 people were present at the time, the young man in the photo and the person who took it. So who, or what, was standing there? What do you think was captured in the shadows? Write your opinion in the comments. The author was celebrating a birthday and taking ordinary party photos, never expecting to find anything unusual. Later, while reviewing the images on her phone, she noticed something reflected in a mirror, a silhouette with a pale face and dark hair. The reflection appears to be staring directly into the camera, even though she was alone in the room at the time. She was never able to explain who or what it was, but ever since then, this photo sends chills down her spine whenever she looks at it again. What do you think appeared in the mirror? Write your opinion in the comments. The next photo was taken during a casual gathering of friends. They are certain there were 5 people present that evening, 1 holding the camera and 4 standing in front of it. However, when they reviewed the image the next day, they noticed a strange figure behind them, something that should not have been there. No one could explain where it came from or how it appeared. What do you think joined them in the photo? Write your thoughts in the comments. A woman claims that something terrifying lives in her home. During one party, someone took this photo, and in the center of the frame, directly behind the guests, a distorted female face with glowing eyes appeared. No one present recognized it. Everyone immediately believed it was a ghost. The image left a lasting impression, as if something invisible had been watching the gathering from just behind them. What do you think appeared in this photo? Share your thoughts in the comments. This photo shows the author's niece. She took the picture in a small bathroom where it would have been physically impossible for anyone to stand so close behind her. The dark shape visible behind her back is supposedly just a shower curtain. But there is one detail that makes the image unsettling. At the moment the photo was taken, the girl was completely alone, the door was closed, and no one entered the room. And yet, something about the image suggests that, for a brief moment, something else appeared in that narrow space, something that should not have been there. What do you think was captured in the bathroom? Write in the comments. This image was taken at Devil's Den in Gettysburg Battlefield, a location famous for ghost stories connected to the Civil War. Among the rocks and heavy shadows, a figure resembling a soldier can be seen. Its outline is blurred, incomplete, almost as if it is fading in and out of existence. The figure appears to be standing still, watching, like someone still guarding a post long after the war ended. Locals say some never left these grounds. And sometimes, if someone looks just a little longer than usual, they begin to notice shapes that do not belong. Was this just shadow and stone, or something still lingering there? Write your thoughts in the comments. The owner of this photograph admits that he has seen many strange images in his life, but this one stands apart. So much so that it still haunts him. He did not take the photo himself. It was taken by the father of his cousin Phil during a trip through Germany several years ago. The man was simply photographing his wife during a quiet walk. The location was peaceful. No people were around. Nothing seemed unusual. The shock came later, when the film was developed. In the background, where there should have been nothing, a disturbing figure appeared. It looks as though someone is crouching or kneeling, hiding, yet watching at the same time. The posture feels unnatural and deliberate, too intentional to be a random shadow. Everyone present at the location confirms that no one else was there. The area was empty and silent. To this day, no one can explain what was captured. A ghost? An unknown entity? Or something even stranger? What do you think this figure is? Share your opinion in the comments. This photograph was taken several years ago during an anniversary celebration of a motorcycle club. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary party photo: friends, smiles, laughter, and celebration. But upon closer inspection, something strange appears in the background on the right side. A figure with disturbing eyes, which, according to everyone present, could not possibly have been there at the time. The group insists that no one was standing behind them. And yet, the gaze of that figure seems to pierce through the image, leaving an unsettling feeling behind. What do you think appeared in this photo? Share your thoughts in the comments. In this image, a young woman stands in the foreground. But directly behind her, something unsettling can be seen. What looks like a foreign face peering out from just inches away. The presence feels invasive, breaking the sense of an ordinary photograph. The author emphasizes that no one was standing behind the woman at the time. Everyone else in the house was positioned in front of her, near the person taking the photo. The only alteration made to the image was the blurring of the woman's face for privacy. And yet, something else appears to be there. What do you think is visible behind her? Share your thoughts in the comments. The owner of this photograph believes that the image shows his father, who had passed away not long before the photo was taken. The picture was captured under ordinary circumstances, but upon closer inspection, the figure does not feel like just a random silhouette. The facial features, the posture, the expression, everything feels familiar, yet strangely unreal, like a presence that remained after death. For the owner, this image became more than just a photograph. It feels like a possible moment of contact, a sign that someone who passed on may still be nearby. What do you think appears in this photo? Write your thoughts in the comments. Eugenia Tobel still cannot fully recover from what happened. The actress admits that since that night, the unsettling thought has not left her, the feeling that something otherworldly may be watching her. In one interview, Eugenia described a disturbing incident that occurred during a casual dinner with friends. At some point, they decided to take a group photo and asked the husband of one of the women to take the picture. Nothing seemed unusual at the moment. The first photo was taken without flash. The image turned out blurry, but that was when they noticed something terrifying. A face appeared behind them, a face that had not been present in the room. Alarmed, they decided to take another photo, this time with flash. On the second image, nothing strange appeared at all. According to Eugenia, they were sitting on the ground floor, directly in front of a window facing the street. Outside, it was completely dark, and the curtain covered the glass only partially. She insists the photo is authentic and has never been edited. That single image continues to haunt her, leaving behind the unsettling feeling that something unseen briefly revealed itself, and may still be near. What do you think appeared behind them? This photograph caused anxiety among many parents. It was taken near a lake, showing several children standing together, unaware of anything unusual. But behind them, viewers noticed what appears to be a vague facial silhouette emerging from the background. Some believe it could be the spirit of a deceased relative, or even something darker, silently watching the children. Others argue that the image is nothing more than pareidolia, a psychological effect in which the brain recognizes familiar shapes in random patterns, such as reflections in water, shadows, or foliage. Still, the image remains deeply unsettling. Whether illusion or something more, the idea that a face seems to be forming behind the children continues to disturb those who see it. What do you believe this image shows? Share your opinion. Several years ago, a family's nephew took a photograph of a fire shortly before preparing dinner. At first, it looked like a completely ordinary image, ordinary flames, an ordinary evening. But upon closer inspection, something strange appeared within the fire. A distinct silhouette could be seen forming in the flames. It resembled the figure of a young girl, as if she were standing inside the fire itself, watching anyone who dared to look closely. The photo sent a chill through the entire family. It felt as though the fire was hiding a secret of its own, and the ghostly figure was staring directly from the past into the present moment. Since then, no one in the family can look at the photo calmly. What was once just fire now feels like a window into something unexplained and deeply unsettling. What do you think appeared in the flames? A woman named Brea shared these images on social media. According to her, the photograph of the so-called shadow entity was captured using an ordinary home computer webcam. For some time, the homeowner had noticed strange anomalies in the house, unexplained noises, movement in empty corners of rooms, and a constant, suffocating feeling that something invisible was hiding just a few steps away. To confirm that it was not her imagination, she left the webcam recording for several hours. Later, while reviewing the footage, she discovered something that appeared in only 2 frames. A dark, distorted entity could be seen, a figure torn from the shadows, with outlines difficult to describe. According to witnesses around the world, similar, shadow people have been reported everywhere. Some believe they are a separate type of being, moving too fast for the human eye to track. Others notice them only in their peripheral vision, while some encounter them face to face and experience overwhelming fear and physical discomfort. Many believe that cameras can capture what human vision cannot. If footage is examined frame by frame, or looped on a screen, strange beings may reveal themselves, unseen in real life, but present all the same. What do you think was captured by the camera? The photograph shows 2 girls wearing Japanese school uniforms. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary school photo, but just behind the shoulder of the girl on the right, a strange figure can be seen. It appears to be peeking out from behind her, as if hiding and carefully observing every movement. The image immediately caught attention. Many believe this is not a random shadow, but a spirit captured at a moment when the boundary between the living world and the other side grew dangerously thin. What do you think was hiding behind her? A security camera recorded something that defies rational explanation. A neighbor, a Vietnam War veteran who has suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder for many years, often said that not everyone returns from war with their soul intact. It seemed as though he brought more than scars home with him. On the night footage, a strange figure appears standing motionless near his house, as if watching him. The shape is blurred, disproportionate, almost formless, clearly not human. Everyone who has seen the footage admits it causes an intense sense of cold, as if the camera captured something that no longer belongs to the world of the living. What do you think the camera recorded that night? Share your opinion. This photograph was taken by a woman named Maria at Cuckoo Nook in Birmingham. She said she had heard many stories about how disturbing the place was, and decided to visit it at night with friends, deliberately choosing the date June 6, 16 to heighten the atmosphere. According to Maria, nothing unusual happened while they were there. The walk passed quietly, but later, while reviewing the photos, she noticed something unsettling. On the right side of one image, a blurred silhouette appeared, a figure that was definitely not there at the time. So what was it? A coincidence, or something that does not welcome visitors? A 14-year-old girl took this photo in her bedroom as a joke, planning to send it to a friend. At the moment the picture was taken, nothing unusual was noticed. But when the friend received the image, she immediately spotted something disturbing. In the window, a blurred female figure was clearly visible. The friend took a screenshot and sent it back right away, asking who that could be. The family later explained that strange things had been happening in their home in County Down for several months. Noises at night, footsteps, light pushes, as if someone unseen was walking through the hallways, all in a house that is only about 10 years old. If the house is new, where did this guest in the window come from? What do you think was watching from outside? Construction workers took this photo to show their foreman what had been completed that day. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary, but on closer inspection, something strange appears in the frame, a figure resembling white mist, as if something or someone passed directly in front of the camera. Some of the workers had already complained about odd occurrences on the site. Tools would disappear without explanation. At times, there was a strong feeling of being watched, or even that someone was lightly touching their belongings. Was this just a coincidence? Or had a real ghost settled at the construction site? What do you think this mist-like figure was? Jim Templeton had only wanted a quiet day with his wife and daughter by the water. He took a few pictures of his little girl smiling in the grass, nothing out of the ordinary. But when the film came back, his heart froze. Behind her stood a tall, white figure, looming silently. It looked almost human, yet its proportions and stance were wrong. The face was blurred, but the shape resembled a helmet. Kodak examined the film, confirming it was untouched. No double exposure, no manipulation. News spread quickly, and people called the figure the Solway Firth spaceman. Some said it was a time traveler, others, an otherworldly visitor. Jim swore no one else was there. The marshlands were empty. To this day, the photo remains unexplained, a moment of something impossible caught forever on film. This image, taken by police officers, shows a dark house in Gary, Indiana, the home of Latoya Ammons and her children. In the photo, a figure can be seen in the right window, solid, human-shaped, staring out. Officer Austin Gary didn't believe in ghosts at first. He thought the story was another attempt to make headlines. But after visiting the home, interviewing witnesses, and snapping a few photos, he changed his mind. Neighbors claimed they heard screams and footsteps at night, long after the house was empty. Even the police dog refused to enter. The air felt thick and cold, and the moment Austin reviewed the photo, he whispered, "Now I believe." The house was later demolished, but locals still say they see lights moving inside the empty lot, long after midnight. At first glance, this photograph looked ordinary, a group of young women smiling for the camera. Photographer Matthew Summers didn't notice anything strange until later. Zooming in, he saw her. Between the legs of the girls on the left stood a small child, expressionless and faded. Her eyes were dark voids, her face ghostly pale. No one remembered seeing a child there. When Matthew asked around, locals told him a girl had died on that very street years before, hit by a carriage while playing. They say her spirit still lingers, appearing only in photos, forever standing among the living, silent and unseen. In 1959, Mabel Chineri visited her mother's grave. It was a quiet, gray afternoon. On her way home, she snapped a casual picture of her husband sitting behind the wheel, smiling faintly. When she developed the photo later, her blood ran cold. On the back seat, visible through the window, was another face, sharp, ghostly pale, with unmistakable eyes. Mabel's mother, the woman whose grave she had just visited. Experts reviewed the image but found no sign of tampering. For Mabel, the message was clear. Her mother had wanted one last ride home. Photographer Neil Sandbach was scouting locations for a countryside wedding in Hertfordshire. It was peaceful, quiet, perfect for his clients. He took a few test shots around the barn, capturing the light and setting. But later, when he looked at the developed photos, a chill ran down his spine. In one frame, standing by the barn door, was a glowing figure of a young boy in white clothing. His face was blurred, his body faintly transparent. When Neil showed the image to the couple, they fell silent. "We've heard stories," they said, "about a ghost boy who wanders these fields. Some claim he was a farmhand who died centuries ago in an accident. Others say he was buried nearby, never found peace. But since that photo was taken, many refuse to be alone near that barn at night." A visitor to the Ulster Folk and Transport Museum in Northern Ireland took what should have been a harmless picture inside an old train carriage. He was alone, or so he thought. When the photo was developed, two more passengers appeared. One sat to his left, a gaunt man with hollow eyes, staring directly at the camera. The other, on the right, had clearer features and even cast a reflection on the polished floor. Investigators who reviewed the image claimed it was impossible. There was no one else inside, and the lighting made reflections from outside unlikely. The man who took the picture said he no longer rides trains. "If they're still traveling," he said quietly, "I want no part in their journey." In 1916, retired Scotland Yard Inspector Arthur Springer took a photograph in Tinchwick, Buckinghamshire. At the moment the shutter clicked, there was no dog in the frame, yet when the film was developed, the translucent shape of a dog stood clearly in the image. Its body was faint, its eyes dark and sorrowful. Locals whispered that Springer had captured the spirit of a loyal hound that died decades earlier but continued to wander the fields where it once lived. Some claimed the photo was a mere optical illusion. Others insisted it was proof that not all souls, even animal ones, find peace. In 2021, 26-year-old Tyler Caranajos captured a photo at Pine Hill Cemetery in Hollis, New Hampshire, a place known for its grim legends. The chilling image shows a translucent figure standing directly over a grave, its outline faint but unmistakable. Tyler had gone there to visit the resting place of Abel Blood, a man rumored to have been a murderer with ties to the occult. Locals claim Blood's ghost still haunts the cemetery, guarding his grave as if protecting dark secrets he took to the other side. When Tyler reviewed the photo, the air grew cold, and he realized the stories might not have been just rumors after all. In 2008, photographer Neil Sandbach was scouting an English farm for a commercial project. It was an ordinary job, until one photograph changed everything. In the corner of a building, barely visible, stood a glowing figure of a small child. Its outline shimmered faintly, like light trapped in mist. When Neil showed the image to the farm staff, several nodded uneasily. They had seen the same glowing boy wandering the property at night. No one knew who he was, only that he appeared near the old barns, silent, watching, and then gone. This eerie photo was taken moments after a fatal car crash. Rising from the wreckage, a faint white mist seems to take human shape, walking slowly away from the crushed vehicle. Many believe the image shows the exact moment a soul left its body, a silent departure caught by accident, lingering between life and death. This haunting photograph was taken at Tantallon Castle in Scotland. Behind the iron bars of a crumbling window, a face appeared, pale, dressed in what looked like ancient clothing. Yet at the time the photo was taken, the castle was completely empty and closed to the public. Experts analyzed the image and confirmed it was not a trick of the light or a digital alteration. Curious investigators visited the site to test whether a real person could have been hiding there. The only way to recreate the figure's position would have been for someone to kneel in a narrow stone alcove, a space impossible to reach without breaking in. No intruder was ever found. The castle remains silent, but those who visit say they still feel eyes watching them from the windows. In 1924, sailors James Courtney and Michael Meehan, crew members aboard the merchant ship Watertown, died in a tragic steam accident while crossing from New York through the Panama Canal. Their bodies were buried at sea off the coast of Mexico on December 4th. The next day, a sailor shouted that he could see faces in the water. 2 faces, the same men who had just been buried. Over the following days, nearly every crew member, including Captain Keith Tracy, reported seeing the same thing, 2 disembodied faces, drifting just beneath the waves, appearing and fading like ghosts. When the ship docked in New Orleans, the captain was advised to document the phenomenon. He brought a camera aboard, and during the next voyage, the faces returned. Tracy took 6 photos and locked the camera in a safe. Upon reaching New York, the film was developed. 5 of the photos showed nothing unusual, but the 6th revealed the unmistakable faces of Courtney and Meehan, staring from the sea. No editing, no trick. After a new crew took over the Watertown, the faces were never seen again. This photograph was taken in 2003 inside an abandoned tuberculosis hospital that operated from 1926 to 1961. The building had long been a source of local fear. Creaking doors, whispers in the halls, cold spots where no draft could reach. In the photo, 2 women stand posing for the camera, unaware of what's behind them. Through the cracked window, a dark figure can be seen staring directly at them. The floor level makes it impossible for anyone to have been standing there from outside. Investigators later confirmed there was no one else in the building that night. Was it one of the long-dead patients, still watching from behind the glass? group of paranormal investigators was invited to explore an old, abandoned hotel in Arkansas. The building had a dark history, mysterious deaths, strange sounds, lights flickering without reason. During their investigation, they took a series of photos in one of the hallways. In one frame, a tall, human-like shape appeared at the far end of the corridor. The figure looked translucent, almost fading into the walls, yet distinctly humanoid. None of the team members had been near that spot. Some say it was the ghost of a drifter who died there long ago, still searching for the room he never found. What was really standing there that night? In the woods of Georgia, a family discovered an abandoned hunting cabin. They decided to take a few photos before leaving. During the shoot, one family member suddenly felt a rush of cold air pass by, though there was no wind. Later, when they looked through the pictures on their computer, they noticed a dark, fast-moving figure crossing the frame. Experts insisted it was simply a human caught mid-motion, blurred by low light. But believers saw something else, a translucent form with no clear edges, glowing faintly against the trees. Some say it might be the spirit of a hunter who vanished in those woods decades ago. What do you think? Camera trick or ghost caught in motion? The final image in this collection was taken inside an old church in France using a simple film camera. The photographer, a studio technician with 10 years of experience, said he had never seen anything like it. In the photo, a shadowy figure seems to walk directly through the church doors, holding something bright in its hands, perhaps a candle or something far stranger. The woman who had ordered the photo prints was so terrified when she saw the image that she refused to collect them, leaving the picture, and the mystery, behind. The church has since been closed to the public, but locals claim lights still flicker behind its sealed doors at night. What do you think? Was it just a trick of the camera, or something that was never meant to be seen? This photograph, taken by the father of a little girl, once spread across the internet, shocking thousands. At first glance, it seems ordinary, a child sitting on the floor, playing with her toys. But right in front of her, a pale white shape appears, forming the faint outline of a human figure. Viewers around the world were convinced it was no camera glitch or dust reflection, but the spirit of the girl's late mother, returning to play with her daughter even after death. The figure's posture seems gentle, almost protective, as if watching over the child from another world. What do you think? A coincidence, or proof that a mother's love truly never dies? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken more than 30 years ago and had always been considered completely ordinary. It sat in storage for decades, surviving moves, boxes, and old photo albums. One day, the owner decided to review his old photos and share them online. That was when the past seemed to reveal itself. In the background, where there had once been nothing but a blurred backdrop, the figure of a small boy suddenly became visible. The owner claims he can even make out light-colored hair and what appears to be a cowboy hat. The strangest part is that no child was present at the time the photo was taken. No one remembers a small cowboy. No one can explain where the boy came from. So who, or what, appeared in the background after all these years? What do you think it is? Write your opinion in the comments. In 2012, a student on a school photo trip took dozens of pictures of trees, leaves, and fog. Later that evening, while reviewing the shots, one photo stood out. Between two bushes appeared a dark, humanoid form, a torso, without visible legs, half faded into the background. No one remembered anyone standing there when the shot was taken. Some suggested it was just a play of light and shadow, others swore they could see a faint face. Even the trees seemed to bend slightly around the figure, as if it was actually standing there. Was it an illusion caused by the forest's light, or something watching from the other side of the lens? What do you see when you look at it? A few years ago, an older woman from a quiet mountain town went hiking on her usual trail, a narrow path winding through the woods, far from any nearby homes or roads. She often went alone, finding peace in the sound of the wind through the trees. That day seemed no different. She stopped to take a few photos, the sunlight through the branches, the distant peaks, and later, she posted them on Facebook. At first, no one noticed anything unusual. Then, people began commenting, asking who the person walking behind her was. Confused, she looked again, and froze. In the background stood a pale, distant figure, tall and motionless, almost blending into the trees. The shape wasn't there when she took the photo. No hikers had passed her. Was it a trick of light? A stranger in the woods? Or something that was never meant to be seen? What do you think? Coincidence, or something haunting that mountain trail? At first, nothing seemed strange about this late-night photo. Someone was simply checking whether the door was locked before bed and snapped a picture in the dark. But in the morning, when they looked closer, a pale face appeared behind a heavy curtain. The features are barely visible, eyes hollow, mouth faintly open, as if someone was watching from the darkness where the light couldn't reach. According to local lore, a woman once lived in that house and vanished without a trace. Since her disappearance, residents have reported glimpses of her, silent, staring from behind the curtains. Was it coincidence? A trick of the shadows? Or the last remnant of a restless spirit still watching from the dark? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments. It was taken in 2016, two brothers standing at the front of Blackpool Beach early one morning, the sun barely rising. Their mother snapped the photo, proud of her sons. Everything seemed normal, but when she zoomed in later, her smile vanished. Between the boys' legs, a small dark shape stood, too solid to be a shadow, too still to be human. They looked around the beach immediately after, but no one was there. The sand was untouched. The tide quiet. Some say the photo shows a lost child who drowned near that very spot years ago. Others claim it's just a trick of the light. What do you think? A camera glitch, or something still wandering the shore? In 1982, photographer Chris Brackley visited a church in London. The building was quiet, filled with echoing whispers of the past. He took several photos of the interior, empty pews, stone arches, flickering candles. Later, when he reviewed the film, one picture stood out. In the upper loft, where no one had been standing, was a pale, transparent figure, gazing down. Chris confirmed only 4 people were inside the church that day, none near that spot. Experts examined the film. No tricks, no reflections, no double exposure. It was real. The Decibel Hotel in Romania had stood abandoned for years, its walls crumbling and its silence oppressive. Locals avoided it, claiming a tall woman roamed the halls, a spirit guarding the ancient Roman treasures buried beneath the foundation. In 2008, Victoria Iovan entered the hotel with her boyfriend, camera in hand. She took photos of the grand staircase, the cracked walls, the fading murals. Later, at home, she noticed something impossible. Behind her boyfriend stood a translucent woman, tall and regal, wearing a flowing white gown. Her face was serene, but her eyes, empty. Victoria said it looked like a priestess, a guardian of the past. Experts tried to debunk the image, but nothing could explain the figure's presence. Since then, explorers who've entered the Decibel Hotel claim to hear soft footsteps following them, even when they're completely alone. The Whaley House in San Diego is drenched in tragedy. Countless visitors have claimed to see strange figures and hear footsteps echoing through empty rooms. This particular photo, taken in the living room, shows a faint figure sitting quietly on the couch. The shape appears to be that of a woman wearing old-fashioned clothing, her head slightly bowed. Many believe it to be the ghost of Anna Whaley, the matriarch of the family, who continues to dwell in her home long after her death. Guides say the air in that room is always colder, as if something unseen still occupies the space. Do you believe that spirits can remain where they once lived? Another eerie image that quickly gained attention online. The photo shows a man standing in front of his house, but in the window behind him, a shadowy female figure can be seen. Her form is faint but clearly human, standing completely still, watching him. Some say it's just a reflection or trick of the light. Others believe it's the ghost of a woman who once lived there, forever staring out the same window where her life ended. The expression on her pale, indistinct face seems full of sorrow or warning. What could she be watching for? This chilling story comes from the quiet countryside of Kentucky. Local legend tells of a soldier who, in a fit of rage, threw his wife from a bridge into the dark river below. Her body was never recovered. Years later, a photograph was taken near that same bridge, and in it, a faint, floating figure can be seen, resembling a woman dressed in white. Residents claim her spirit still wanders the area, soaked in silence, waiting for someone who never came back. Some say, on foggy nights, her sobs can still be heard under the bridge. What do you think? Is this just a story, or something more? Easton Cemetery in Connecticut is one of the most haunted burial grounds in the United States. Its ghostly reputation draws curious visitors from all over the country. The image in question appears to show a glowing woman standing among the graves, her long dress trailing like mist. Locals say she's the White Lady, a restless spirit who appears on the nearby roads at night. Many drivers report seeing her suddenly materialize in front of their cars, forcing them to swerve. Some survived to tell the story. Others didn't. Those who've seen her face describe it as lifeless and sorrowful, as if mourning something she can never reclaim. What was she looking for that night? Late one evening, a store employee and her manager were closing up when they decided to take a quick picture near the self-checkout. Moments later, a strange sound echoed through the aisles, a tone that wasn't from any alarm or phone. The checkout light suddenly turned on by itself. They left immediately. Later, when reviewing the photo, a dark human-shaped shadow could be seen standing beside one of the empty registers. Its proportions were wrong, elongated, distorted. When the image was brightened, the shape became even clearer, as though it was watching them. Was it a trick of lighting, or did something decide to stay behind after closing hours? What do you think was standing there? Over a decade ago, a father took his family camping and brought along his digital camera. The trip was calm, filled with laughter and campfire stories. No one felt uneasy, no strange sensations, until later, when the photos were reviewed. The father, trying to explain it, claimed it must be a lens flare, but everyone who's seen it disagreed. The glow seems to take the form of a person, half turned toward the camera. The family still keeps the photo, though no one likes to look at it for long. Lens flare, or something else that came to watch them that night? In 2012, a young woman lost her twin sister to suicide. Months later, while experimenting with her first smartphone, she snapped sepia-toned photos of her dog for fun. The lighting was dim, the flash reflected oddly off the furniture, nothing seemed out of place. Weeks later, she looked again, and saw a face in the background. It was faint, blurred, but unmistakable. The same soft features, the same eyes. Only this face appeared to be crying, tears streaking down a pale, translucent cheek. Surrounding it were strange orb-like lights and a faint triangular shape, as if something unseen was framing her image. She couldn't explain it. Neither could anyone else. Was it her sister, reaching through the photograph to be seen once more? What do you think? A coincidence, or something far more personal? The Hotel Dieu Hospital in Windsor, over a century old, carries a dark history. Nurses have long reported hearing the laughter of a little girl echoing through the halls, even when the children's ward has been closed for decades. 7 years ago, a nurse took a picture inside a treatment room and captured what appears to be a small girl standing in the corner. Her outline is faint, her dress old-fashioned, her face blurred as if caught mid-turn. Security footage confirmed no children had entered the area that night. Yet many staff members claim they've heard her voice, soft, playful, just before lights flicker or doors close on their own. If you ever see her, would you wave back? The photo shows an old brick building with white columns and wooden railings. On the second floor, behind one of the glass doors, a faint figure stands in the dark. The shape is almost human, but blurry, as though the reflection itself had come to life. According to locals, tourists took this photo after stopping by what used to be a 19th century hotel. The owner's daughter vanished there long ago. Her body was never found. Since then, people claim her ghost still appears on the balcony, motionless, waiting for those who promised to return. The image remains one of the eeriest ever shared from the area. Do you think she's still waiting? Taken in 2019 in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, this photo shows a couple smiling at dinner. The lighting is warm, cozy, nothing strange about it at first glance. But behind them, something is wrong. A face appears pale, blurred, eyes hollow. It doesn't match anyone in the room, and no one remembers anyone standing there. What do you think it was?